Soo-jin held the 2 tickets and looked at her watch while waiting for the next train. Later, she entered a phone booth and cried a lot. That night, she bought a soft drink at a convenience store and left. Later, the girl realized that she had left what she had bought behind. When she returned, she accidentally bumped into a man holding a soft drink. She grabbed it and drank it until it was gone. Then she gave it back to the man, who did nothing but smile. When Soo-jin got on the bus, she realized that she had also left her wallet behind, so she went back to the store. The attendant returned her wallet and the drink she had bought. When she realized that it was not the soft drink she had drunk earlier, she looked for the man but could not find him. At their home, Soo-jin's family had breakfast in silence. Her father, Mr. Kim, was still angry because she had been involved with a married man. At the office, Soo-jin was confronted by a colleague who claimed to be a friend of the woman she had wronged. However, she did not respond. Months passed and it seemed that her father had forgiven her. Mr. Kim was the CEO of a construction company and he took Soo-jin to the building they were building. There, Mr. Kim witnessed the foreman Cheol-Soo arguing with an engineer. When Cheol-Soo stepped out of the building and Soo-jin saw him, she realized that he was the man she had taken the soda from. At Soo-jin's workplace, there was an office that was still unfinished. The girl told the boss that she knew someone who could help. Soo-jin called her father and Mr. Kim told her that he had someone to send. When the elevator opened, Soo-jin saw Cheol-Soo so she immediately hid. Later, Soo-jin went to a vending machine but the foreman snatched her soft drink and drank it. On her way home, a man on a motorcycle snatched Soo-jin's bag. Cheol-Soo opened the door of his car and the thief crashed into it. He removed the broken windshield and took the girl home. The next day, Soo-jin got ready and brought snacks, but she found out that Cheol-Soo was not in their office. That night, Soo-jin went out with her friends, and they intentionally passed by the place where Cheol-Soo and his co-workers ate. The foreman was busy carving when the women approached them. Soo-jin said that they were just passing by and she didn't expect to see him. The men immediately offered their seats to the girls and after some wine, they got drunk and left. Only Cheol-Soo and Soo-jin were left and Foreman could be seen holding the girl's hand. He gave her a glass of soju and said that if she finished it, they would be officially toying a relationship. Without hesitation, Soo-jin drank it and the foreman immediately kissed her. The two started dating and often they went to a baseball cage. Their relationship became happy and full of lovemaking. In Foreman's apartment, Soo-jin saw the sculpture carved by her boyfriend which he immediately snatched and thrown away. When Soo-jin went upstairs, she found out that Cheol-Soo was studying to become an architect. She was about to open her boyfriend's drawer but Cheol-Soo warned her that he will kick her out if she does that. Soo-jin sees a picture of Cheol-Soo with an old man and her boyfriend insists that it is his teacher. In the trash, it could be seen that the sculpture carved by Cheol-Soo was actually the face of Soo-jin. Soo-jin made the suit for Cheol-Soo so that he could wear it while taking the architecture exam. After the exam, Cheol-Soo saw his girlfriend still waiting outside and they went home together. Soo-jin's father heard gossip that she has a boyfriend and wants to meet him. The girl told Cheol-Soo about it but the foreman refused what she wanted. Soo-jin insisted that they need to introduce themselves to her parents if they want to get married but the young man still refused. While having dinner, Cheol-Soo said that he didn't want to commit because he was afraid that they might get hurt in the end. A few moments later, Soo-jin's parents arrived, and Cheol-Soo could do nothing more. Mr. Kim was surprised because it was his foreman who was the one sleeping with his daughter. Cheol-Soo tried to leave but Soo-jin stopped him. Their table was filled with awkward silence. When Soo-jin left to go to the bathroom, Mr. Kim started insulting the foreman. When Cheol-Soo was about to leave, the boss told him that he was fired. After washing her face, Soo-jin seemed to lose consciousness and walked aimlessly outside while it was raining. Later, they found her unconscious on the street. The doctor said that Soo-jin had fainted due to extreme stress, but she was supposed to be fine once she got some rest. When Soo-jin woke up, she immediately hugged Foreman and her father did nothing. Later, the girl married Cheol-Soo. In their house, their wedding photos can be seen next to her husband's architect license. One day, Cheol-Soo hurriedly went to their kitchen, which was smoking. Soo-jin forgot to turn off the stove and apologized profusely. Cheol-Soo smiled and took his wife to the room to make love. In construction site, Mr. Kim introduced the developer, Mr. Hwang, to Cheol-Soo. Mr. Huang brought the architect on a vacant hill where he planned to build houses. Immediately, Cheol-Soo started designing and he showed it to Mr. Huang and his colleagues. He was nervous about presenting, but when he touched the button of his suit, he remembered his wife, which made his confidence return. Mr. Huang was very impressed and Cheol-Soo immediately called his wife to inform him that he got the contract. The construction of houses was immediately started. One night, Ye-jin suddenly got worried because she forgot the way home. She breathed a sigh of relief when she finally found the house and saw Cheol-Soo. The next day, she visited a neurologist and the doctor asked if she ever had a severe stress before. The girl started her story about having an affair with a married man. She was very sad after the man did not show up at the train station. One morning, Cheol-Soo's mother visited his office to borrow money. The architect got angry and said it was not his responsibility to help her. The mother said she borrowed money from a gang and now her life is in danger. Cheol-Soo still rejected his mother, so she left angrily. At the construction site, the couple is already imagining their future home. Cheol-Soo told his wife to wait a little longer because they would also have their own house on that lot. Ye-jin smiled and hugged him. Cheol-Soo then took his wife to the temple where his former teacher worked. He showed the wall frame he had carved, but the old man responded that there were many flaws in his work. When Cheol-Soo left to fetch water, the old man asked Ye-jin if her husband had introduced his mother to her, to which she replied that he had not. The teacher insisted that Cheol-Soo had not yet truly forgiven his mother. That night, Ye-jin opened Cheol-Soo's drawer and there she saw documents with her mother's picture and address. Ye-jin went to the address and saw their former house that the bank had taken. She convinced Cheol-Soo to help her mother, but the husband refused because he had worked hard to build their dream house. Ye-jin said that they would not live happily in the house if he doesn't help his mother. In anger, Cheol-Soo broke the glass and said his mother left him when he was young. Ye-jin told him to forgive his mother, just like his father forgave him and allowed their marriage. Cheol-Soo cried and his wife hugged him. The next day, Cheol-Soo visited his mother in prison, who was still angry with him. Later, Cheol-Soo met with a gang member and paid his mother's debt of 5 million. That night, the couple ate at a cheap restaurant and Cheol-Soo told his wife that they had no money left. Ye-jin told him not to worry because he would pay for their dinner. Cheol-Soo smiled and hugged her. In the clinic, the doctor asked Ye-jin simple questions like the current date, age and birthday of her brother, but she had difficulty remembering it, so the doctor put her in the MRI scanner. When Ye-jin entered work, she found out that her ex-young man had returned from Paris. The man said that they would work together again, but this time, he had no wife, while Ye-jin did. He was apologizing for not showing up at the train station, but Ye-jin insisted that she didn't remember it. One night, Ye-jin was busy putting glue on a piece of paper while Cheol-Soo was just behind her. Suddenly, the wife was looking for something and opened the door to look outside. When she saw Cheol-Soo, she asked him where he had gone and the husband just smiled. The wife sat down and thanked Cheol-Soo for putting glue on the paper. Because of this, the husband was confused. The doctor got the test results and told Ye-jin that she had a rare case of Alzheimer's disease. The wife couldn't believe it. The doctor advised her to stop working because it was dangerous for her condition. He added that the young woman would gradually forget her family, friends, and even herself when her memory was completely lost. Ye-jin's world collapsed on what she found out. Later, she told her husband that she was resigning and would just stay at home to serve him. Cheol-Soo insisted that he wanted that, but he asked his wife what happened. Ye-jin just kissed him and then she went to the bathroom to cry. Now that she was out of work, Ye-jin was taking care of her husband before going to work and they were happy with this setup. Later, Ye-jin woke up to a call from the phone. Young Min told her that she couldn't resign without notice and he asked to meet her at the office. At lunchtime, Cheol-Soo's co-workers teased him because his wife had packed him a meal. However, when he opened his two lunch boxes, both were filled only with rice. Because of this, Cheol-Soo started to worry. Meanwhile, while Ye-jin was on her way to the office, she suddenly stopped. She sat down and leaned against the wall of a building. A policeman helped her and asked where she was going. Ye-jin replied she had no idea. Cheol-Soo visited his wife's doctor and he couldn't believe what she discovered. In anger, he attacked the doctor and asked several times if he was sure. The nurses came and said that the doctor's wife was also died of Alzheimer's, so he spent his life researching about the disease. Cheol-Soo asked if there was a cure for it, and the doctor said there was none. The doctor said that before his wife died, he took her to the place where they first met. He said he was very happy because his wife's memory came back, but only 3 hours later she asked him who he was. Cheol-Soo called his wife, but someone else answered and said he just saw the phone on the street. Meanwhile, while Ye-jin was walking with the police, he saw Young Min. Ye-jin called his name and held his hand. They sat on the bench and Young Min asked if they could go back to the way they were before. Ye-jin's memory suddenly came back and then she left her ex. That night, Cheol-Soo saw his wife in the baseball cage. Ye-jin saw her husband crying, so she asked if he already knew about her condition. Ye-jin told him that they should break up because their love was useless if she didn't remember anything. Cheol-Soo said he would remember everything for her, but Ye-jin asked him to let her go. Cheol-Soo insisted that they will start every day like it was like they were dating every day and it would be fun. He hugged his wife and they went home together. Their house was now filled with sticky notes and pictures of them as a couple. Cheol-Soo checked his wife every day and she still remembered their names and address. Before the husband left, Ye-jin told him to go home early because it was her mother's birthday and she had invited his family and the old teacher. While cooking, Ye-jin looked at the calendar and her memory disappeared again. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door and when she saw Young Min, the woman smiled and let him in. She pleaded with the man not to leave her again, which confused Young Min, so he asked her what was wrong. Cheol-Soo arrived, and when he approached, Ye-jin got scared and asked who he was. The husband punched Young Min and dragged him outside, where he beat him badly. Later, their family arrived and suddenly Ye-jin fainted. Cheol-Soo told everyone about his wife's condition and Mr. Kim said that she got it from their family. He told Cheol-Soo that they would take care of their child because the husband might not be able to handle it when the time comes. Cheol-Soo insisted that he would take care of his wife. Ye-jin came out of the room and everyone felt sorry for seeing her urinating. Cheol-Soo immediately brought her into the room and hugged her tightly. The next day, when Cheol-Soo was about to leave, Ye-jin called him Young Min and said she loved him. Cheol-Soo replied back and forced a fake smile. When he was outside, the husband cried a lot. Cheol-Soo told the doctor that Ye-jin no longer recognized him and that she called him by her ex's name. The doctor said that new memories are the first to disappear, and he couldn't blame Ye-jin because that was all that remained in her memory. When Ye-jin looked at the notes and pictures in their house, she suddenly remembered everything. She realized what she had done to her husband, so she cried uncontrollably. When Cheol-Soo arrived home, he saw a letter on the table asking for his forgiveness for breaking his heart. She insisted that he was the only one she loved. She wanted Cheol-Soo to be happy, but all she had given him was suffering. That's why she asked him to go to her father to sign their divorce papers. Cheol-Soo went to Ye-jin's father and tore up the papers. Mr. Kim begged him not to waste his life for Ye-jin, but he didn't listen and went looking for his wife. He went to the police and filed a missing person report. While in the baseball cage, Cheol-Soo saw Ye-jin cheering him on, but when he approached her, it turned out to be just his imagination. One day, he saw a letter written by Ye-jin. Cheol-Soo hurriedly got into his car, and while driving, Ye-jin's voice narrated the contents of her letter. She said it was a miracle that she remembered everything, but it might only be temporary. Ye-jin told him that he would eventually find a woman who would make him happy, and she asked him not to look for her anymore. Cheol-Soo arrived at the hospital, and the nurse took him to Ye-jin's room. When his wife saw him, she dropped the sketchpad containing drawings of Cheol-Soo's face. When the husband returned it, Ye-jin thanked him but asked who he was. Cheol-Soo told her his name and said he was glad to meet her. During lunch, Ye-jin said that the husband's scent smelled familiar, but she couldn't remember anything. She asked Cheol-Soo why he was crying, but he struggled to speak. The husband begged the nurse to let him take his wife out of the hospital. They went to the convenience store where they first met. When Ye-jin entered, Cheol-Soo opened the door while holding a soft drink. Ye-jin reached for it but didn't take it. As she stepped inside, she saw that the store attendant was the doctor, while the cleaner was the husband's teacher. She also saw that the customers were her family and Cheol-Soo's mother. Tearfully, Soo-jin asked her husband if they were in heaven, and Cheol-Soo nodded. In the end, Cheol-Soo gave Soo-jin the sculpture he had made, and he told his wife that he loved her. Soo-jin hugged him, and now they were determined to fight her devastating illness together, and this is where the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To stay updated on new recaps, hit the notification bell.